On today's video, we'll be taking a look at some reserve list cards you may want to be keeping your eye on. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to my channel and you've found me on YouTube somehow out there, you've come across my channel and you're here now, thanks a lot for checking out my content today. I really hope you enjoyed it and you had a blast when you were here. And if you did, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Smash it down. It's free to do. And of course, it helps the channel get closer to 10,000 subscribers. And that's the main goal of the channel. Can't wait to see you all there. We're going to have a blast. Now, on today's video, we'll be talking about some reserve list cards, which have some potential growth. They've had downswings. The market has kind of said, they're kind of boring right now. But a lot of times that's when you should be buying them, buying on the dip. And of course, this is non-financial advice. I have no knowledge of a financial background whatsoever. I've just learned through a lot of mistakes. So if you have some real financial questions, you should be seeking out a proper financial advisor from some institution that you respect. Not the guy who did not graduate Magic University, is not recognized by anybody but the Floppy Taco King himself. We're going to have a good time. Let's get down to some awesome cards. The first card I want to discuss with everyone today is Wheel of Fortune from Revised Edition. Now this card locally should be around the $400 Canadian mark near mint if you're somewhere here in Canada. They can be as cheap as $300 for a heavily played in Canadian prices, which US would be like $260, right? Or as much as $330. But what's interesting is the market price is $390.89 US. The market price, though, is $351.44 US, or €241.58 to get you that card. The sales are steady on Wheel of Fortune. This card can do a lot, and there have been a lot of copycat Wheel of Fortune cards that have been brought in by Wizards of the Coast trying to catch that imagination, to set it on fire of how good the original was. And don't forget, there is a Judge promo edition of this card out there as well, and that card is insanely expensive, so I wouldn't go looking down that tracker right now, but it is very, very beautiful to look at. Now the formats are Commander, Legacy, Vintage, Old School. And when you see this price, at one point, some of these cards graded were going for around the $1,000 mark. Look how far, now I remember seeing as much as 700 as my track sales of how much they were selling for that, but we've lost about 50% of the market cap on this thing. It just dropped down 50%. It's been plummeting down over the last 10 months. And that makes it a prime opportunity for those with the cash flow or the desire to get a card like this, Wheel of Fortune. Being able to discard your hand, all players, and draw 7 new cards, and depending on how fast you can get your hand down, I use it in my old school deck I play with because I usually can dump my hand on turn 1, turn 2, and I always need to draw a lot of cards. So I always have this in my deck. I can see why people want it, especially in Commander, when fitted with the right type of deck and other types of cards that let you draw like this. It can be a lot of fun. And when you see it now hovering below the $500 mark, it makes it very accessible to a group of players who didn't have the opportunity. I'm not saying go out and just like spend the money and buy it. There are trade opportunities with stores who now have a couple of copies and don't want to carry them anymore. Maybe you're just going to go for a heavily played copy for $300. That's only a few fetch lands and a few cards from Kamigawa, and you've got it in your back pocket, and you're going to build a better Commander deck. You're going to build into a piece of old nostalgic reserve list cards that's not coming back, people. Let's understand that. This card should not be at this price. It should be up around the $700-800 mark. But the price isn't holding. But it will go up there again sooner or later. Anyone who builds a Commander deck and wants to have this card, and think about all the new players who join Commander every year, look where this is going to end up. It's going to end up way up there in the sky one day where nobody can afford it. So get it while the getting's good. Don't miss that opportunity if it's a card you're after. All right, now, our next card is going to be Mightstone from Antiquities. Now, this is not a powerhouse card. I love the card, but I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. It is not a powerhouse card by today's standards. 4 casting costs, it gives all attacking creatures +1/+0 is pretty weak, really, by comparison. This card is $20 Canadian near mint. It is on the reserve list, though. The average price is $17.64 US. The market price is $16.96 US. And it's €14.95 to get you this card. I actually have the artist proof of this card. I love it. But I don't love it for what it does. I love it for what it represents. And that's what I want to pick on here. The sales on the card are steady. But the Weakstone and Mightstone are part of Magic history because they are part of Urza and Mishra. They are part of that epic battle between the two brothers and the Brothers' War. And that's coming up this year, the Brothers' War, which could ignite a whole new group of players to seek out cards like this, the old nostalgia ones, and say, wow, that's just awesome. I mean, look at the Brothers' War photos. You see they're both holding their stones in their hand. And since they're both reserve list, it's not as if they can bring them back. There's only so many out there. Particularly if you're looking for near mint quality copies, get them while the getting's good because they tanked in price. These things reach that $40, $50 level and look where they're at now. 20 bucks Canadian, near mint. Moderate, heavily played, whatever you want. If you're a person who loves that kind of lore and history of Magic, if you like the idea of reserve list cards that will be museum quality pieces that are affordable and cheap right now, then these are the types of cards you should be looking at because they don't cost a lot of money to get into, but they have that lore, that history. And I mean, these things, I didn't put it down, but they're also played in old school. These are cards that can go into an old school deck for some fun that don't cost a fortune. You don't have to use it in Commander or Legacy or Vintage, but you can use it old school. You can use it kitchen table. You could have a deck format that says only cards worth less than 20 bucks. You can do whatever you want. But it's the idea that there's a set coming up this year. We have Dominaria United, but then we also have the Brothers' War. As soon as I hear Brothers' War, I thought of these cards. And I think of the potential value later on that go along with the lore, the history, and heaven forbid they actually ever make a movie with this stuff because these will be featured in the movie. Just like old comic books like Deadpool became worth so much in New Mutants 98 or Hulk 181, first appearance of Wolverine, right? That's how these things become expensive. They get recognized by the populace around them. I don't get why people don't understand that sometimes. You're looking into the future, not now. You're looking 50, 60, 70 years out there before you decide on buying cards like this. You can't wait that long sometimes. Spend the 20 bucks. Skip a takeout meal. Get the card and take it home at least after you have one. And I would spend the extra money for a near mint. You don't have to worry about it ever again. They can sit looking pretty. Your kids and you can admire it for years to come. Decades. Awesome. Let's go to our next card. And you'll see where I'm going with this. Wow, it's the Weakstone. Antiquities. You notice again, sales are steady. $20 Canadian near mint. Very interesting, right? Now, the average price is $14.79 US. The market is $14.92 US. And you can see €13.04 to get that card. The format, Commander, Legacy, Vintage, Old School. Now, what's interesting is this card to me is more effective than the Mightstone. I like decks like this where you could put a card like this in, all the creatures get a minus. If I'm building an anti-creature deck and they're going to have some weenie army out there with 1/1s galore, this helps mitigate the damage. So this actually could be played in Commander to kind of shuck people back a little bit and say, that dragon's not a 5/5, it's a 4/5. Your 2/3 creature is now a 1/2. Right? Or your 3/3 is now a 2/3. I like that when that happens, okay? So this card to me has a little more playability factor, but it still represents what I was just talking about with the Mightstone. It cannot be ignored. People have to recognize how awesome it is to see these kind of things and what could happen. What happened in Marvel could happen anywhere. It happened in Transformers. Look at the old cards and what those old toys are worth now. This is just our version of it that hasn't come to realization yet. It's amazing. All right, our next card we're going to talk about is going to be Disharmony. Now, this card is a little more expensive, $65 Canadian near mint. It is from Legends. They've imitated this card, but they haven't copied it, okay? Now, the average price here is $61.73 US. The market price is $62.34 US. And of course, it's €68.99 to get that card. It's just starting to go down now. So this might be a card you just want to keep an eye on. The sales are slow, so the price is going down the race to the bottom for those who might want to get their hands on the card. I still think this will go lower. But look what the card does. This card takes control of a creature, but at instant speed. So depending on what they're hitting you with, if they attack with a couple of big creatures, you can throw this out, take the creature, make it untapped, go in there, and set it as a blocker. You have to play it before they block. Okay, before blockers are declared. It's kind of specific. But I can see how versatile this card will be. Unlike other ones where it's like at sorcery speed, this is at instant. You could take their Emrakul and block with it and then sack it if you wanted to. Depending, if you had a City of Shadows, you could take control of the creature, block and kill their thing, and then sack it before they get a chance to get it back. There are combinations that cards like Disharmony allow for that you can't use at the right appropriate moments in other variations of this card. So Disharmony is one of those cards I kind of go, yeah, I can have some fun with you. I can see the potential for this card just to be so godly. So I keep an eye on this one. I think it'll fall further in price though. Remember, entertainment purposes only, guys, but I think it's going to fall a little further. Now our next card is the Conch Horn. And this is weird. I'm talking about a Fallen Empires card that I believe will one day be a $50 card. It's kind of weird to me. But we're going to go there. Sales are steady. They've dropped off, thank goodness, because this card was like $17, $18 US at one point. We're now down to $6 Canadian for a near mint copy, when you can find near mint, by the way. The average price is $4.81 US. The market price is $3.78 US. And it's actually kind of expensive here. €6.34 is pretty pricey, actually. You might want to get that sent from over here in Canada or the US for those who ship over. The formats are Commander, Legacy, Vintage, and Old School. Now, think about what this card does. Yes, it costs 2 to get out, but when you sack it, it basically acts like a brainstorm, which is amazing. And it's from an artifact, which means it can go into any deck. It doesn't have to be blue who gets the advantage of this. Of course, it will amplify what blue can do, but you have the opportunity to put this in a black deck, in a green deck, in decks that, a red deck, that don't normally have that card draw manipulation they may need to get to the cards they want to get to in a Commander game, Vintage, Legacy, Old School, whatever format you're playing, kitchen table. I think people will come to recognize this card far down the line. Now, I have 2 of them. I will buy 2 more at some point. I don't think there's a rush to get this card. But for those who recognize it and say, you know what, this has playability, because again, old school artifacts like this can go into any deck. They can be played anywhere, and that gives them versatility, adaptability, and desirability further on as the game grows and adapts with new players coming in. Again, we're not seeing a lot of there's so much Fallen Empires out there, but you're not seeing new boxes cracked anymore. They're $12, $13, $14, $1,500 now. They're just not being opened the way they used to. And they were printed a lot, but a lot of those cards were destroyed. It's not as many out there as people believe. I don't care what anyone says. My tracking, what we've seen on the channel, when we're watching the refill and restocks of cards that we did like Team Thrall, it doesn't come back the same way. When the near mint copies disappear, they don't just restock new near mint copies. It's kind of like light played, moderate played. And after those are gone, it's kind of moderate played, heavily played. That's what's happening. So cards like this in near mint will be a little more difficult to find. Keep that as a reminder to yourself. If it's a card you want or you think you may want one day for a Commander deck, just spend the $6. Skip a Starbucks coffee. All right, now our last card, Talarian Academy. Should not be where it is. Urza's Saga. All right? Come on, amazing reserve list card. Now, $180 Canadian, near mint. And it's sold out, by the way, locally. But that's the price they said they would sell it for. The average price is $142.51. Perfect, awesome. The market price is $163.23. Okay, that's US. And €113.32 to get you that card. The formats being Commander, Legacy, and Vintage. You see there, when I said Commander, because I don't care if they say it's banned. They're nothing to me. I don't have to follow those rules in my playgroup if I don't want to. The sales are steady on the card. And the reason I'm putting down Commander is I still say if they allow all these other types of cards, like, I hate to say it, but Serra Sanctum, with the amount of enchantments now that are buffing up that land, it's kind of disgusting to see what Serra Sanctum could become. And when you go ahead and you see they still have Mishra's Workshop in there, but you don't have Talarian Academy? It's just wrong to me. It bothers me on a personal level because this land is amazing, and it's not as if there aren't lands that can blow this up. You have strip mines. You have lots of lands out there nowadays. The new one right now from Kamigawa could blow this up. Come on. We have opportunities. So, I say they should unban it. I'm going to keep preaching that they should unban it. Like some side street guy going, listen to me. That's how I feel, like a crazy person that people don't see what I see. And if they ever do unban it like they did Time Vault was like a $30 unlimited, $50 beta, and $100 alpha at one point because it was banned. What happens if this does become unbanned? I think I'll keep my near mint 4 copies I have, and I will hold on to those. And I have a few other played copies and stuff inside decks, but I'll keep them right where they are. And I think there is potential for this card to still go up anyway, drifting gradually over time. And heaven forbid when they do unban it, because everyone will jump on the bandwagon, and only those who had the forethought to think about buying this card ahead of time will be the smart ones. Okay? In my estimation, in my humble opinion only, entertainment purposes only. Remember that, guys. If you're going for a card like this, it's still $180. You better want to have a good time playing with it, or have it looking pretty in a binder and understand what you're getting into, okay? Because it could stay banned forever. I just don't think it should. So those are some interesting cards that I think have the potential to move further along in the game for various reasons, known only to the crazy brain that I listen to on, several occasions once in a while. I really hope everyone enjoyed the video today. Please make sure you put your comments in the comment section because I actually care about what everyone thinks, and I'd like to know your opinions on cards like this, which is why I like to stay active in the comment section. So thanks a lot for taking the time to watch this video in its entirety. And if you made it this far, you can put pizza in the comment section because that's what I feel like eating right now. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everyone. Have a wonderful day. I think it's Family Day in Canada right now because you're watching this on Monday. Happy Family Day to all the fellow Canadians out there. And for those of you who don't have a family day, you should have one because it's a day to spend with your family. I'll see you guys on the live stream tonight, which would be 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day today, everyone. What are all my fabulous patrons up to? Well, they're supporting this channel, and that's amazing. And if you were hoping to get onto the Patreon, I'm sorry, it is still sold out. There will not be any openings made until April after I've discussed it with patrons. So rock on, everyone. Thanks again for the support of all the awesome patrons on the channel. You didn't think I'd forget about you, did you? You made it to the end. You put the little pizza comment, but we all know what happens in the after part, right? Yeah. So we got the Axgard Armory. I want you guys to enjoy that card as it goes into the 10K box. Because I respect the fact you guys made it this far. What's that, Deadpool? Turn your head around? All right. Deadpool's looking sideways. It's Happy Family Day. And I recorded this video actually, of course, days earlier because I'm with my family right now. And although I'd like to be here with you guys, family's number one, man. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have an awesome day. And I'll see you on the live stream. Yeah!